Guys, if you know Panama real estate, you know that there are thousands of Panama real estate agents out there. Today's video, I want to get Ruben Nunez here with us to answer some questions about why to even bother using a real estate agent in Panama versus going directly. So I'm going to try to play devil's advocate here and say, man, I speak Spanish. I can certainly call these listings and go see. So let's start off with, let's say I want to buy pre-construction, Ruben. And I see Bern and I see Grupo Pueblos and I see all these guys. Why should I even bother seeing these listings with a real estate agent like yourself?
Yeah, I think that especially when you're coming to Panama for the first time, um, understanding the different neighborhoods, the variety of options that you have is so wide, even though it's a small country, that it may be overwhelming for starters. And number two, unlike other countries like in the US or Canada, where you have a centralized database where you can find all of the information you want about a neighborhood, what prices are selling, what the last property was sold for, who bought it, all of that. Unfortunately, Canada does not have that centralized on a buffer level. So because all of the information is available in different locations, either by an entity of the government or by a real estate entity, then it becomes very difficult for you. It may become very difficult to make a decision as to where to invest and trying to find shares. So a lot of these question marks need an answer. And that's why you need a very professional buyer's agent to assist you in that process.
No, that's fair. I would say that a guy like you, if I say I want to look at Bern, for $1 million, you say, well, if you're going to look at Bern, you should probably look at these 3 or 4 other developers, and you should probably know, for example, that they just got sued. They just lost a giant lawsuit decision in the last couple days, and hey, if you're not like for to the tune of what, 80 million, something like that.
Yeah, well, that's what the news that broke out yesterday. These are legal issues that are being dealt with.
Right.
So
It's
it's
a
one of those,
moving.
it's like one step in that ladder, and we'll just have to wait it out and see exactly where they go. But
But a guy,
definitely,
but Byrne is not going to tell you that when you go into their sales office and look at a beautiful unit. But Ruben sure would. He might be like, yo, these guys are probably going to be pretty negotiable right now because they are facing potentially, we love Byrne. We love everybody that works there and we hope that the situation gets resolved amicably, but it's like insider information, maybe. I would say also for in the case of pre-construction, Ruben, a guy like you is going to know, all right, well, I just brought somebody here 2 weeks ago. And, we started at this, we got down to this, and shoot, we know this is their bottom line. Let's go a little bit lower and see if we can drop it. Or we know to ask for the appliance package or better parking. So, yeah, I think from a comps standpoint, I think, Ruben, you hit a very good point, which is, hey, if you're going to look at this, you probably want to look at these other 4, especially these guys who have only 3 units left and they just want to close out the project. Or these guys who are getting ready to release a project. If you can wait for 5 years, then you'll get a better deal. So yeah, I think absolutely, Ruben. What about resales? I mean, I could just as easily call a listing on Encuentro 24 or Compra Alquile and go see it with the other agent. What is a guy like you gonna do to help me get a better price and a better deal?
so I think that the first thing that when you're trying to find a resale, if it's a project, if it's something that's already been delivered, then we're able to pull up comps directly from the public registry and provide as much information as possible in terms of you know what the last transactions available are showing in terms of where they closed at. So it will be good information that will allow you to present the best possible offer and get the best possible price as well. So that is something like in the case of those buildings that are already delivered that we can find comps on.
Yeah.
If it's that's still under construction that there are no comps on, then uh, we do have tons of experience dealing with resales, working with developers, um, giving feedback in terms of what you can expect in terms of timelines, uh, uh, what type of
Managing
documents you
expectations.
need. But all of this information is super helpful because it's very, very different from what you may be used to. Let's say, for instance, in the US or Canada or in Europe. It's very different.
Sure. Yeah, and I would say touching along those lines is like if you go see it with the seller's agent, obviously they're going to be completely not on your side, and probably going to tell you whatever you want to hear because honestly, in Panama, we don't really have a giant code of ethics. I mean, it exists, but it's not nearly as regulated or as adhered to as in the U.S. about what you can say and what you can't say, disclosing issues that Ruben would know about. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to go show this unit in Mar del Plata, and I can tell you right now that their homeowners association has been having a 6-month battle. There is a lady on there that on the X floor that is not letting I don't know, anybody walk through her lobby or something crazy, something super hyper local that only a good real estate agent A is going to know about and B tell you. Is going to disclose that even if it costs them a deal, promise that we are the agency that's much rather maintain a relationship because usually you end up closing a deal with those kind of folks anyway because they appreciate your transparency. Okay, so that's good information, Ruben. But what about a contract? Man, I mean, like, don't the lawyers do everything anyway? Why do you need a real estate agent at that stage? So you find a property on your own and you negotiate on your own, right? And that's a whole other story because Ruben knows what to ask for, what to push for, how to probe, all of that. But past the negotiation, let's say I know what I'm doing. I just got a handshake deal, 300,000. I think I'm getting a good deal on it. And now it's going to go to contract. Where is an agent valuable there?
Well, the experience that we have, for instance, with this or doing so many deals is that we've seen all sorts of contracts. We can definitely spot a contract that may have clauses that are definitely not normal in doing this type of business in the city. And the way,
But hold
yeah,
on.
go ahead.
I would argue that a lawyer could probably do that too, right? Is sniff out not not a good contract. Keep
Yeah,
going.
of course, the lawyers will be able to do that. The reason that the agent will be involved is because you're usually going to be able to get the feedback first from your agents just by looking at the contract.
Yeah.
Um, it definitely time is very of the essence when you're doing these type of deals. And in addition to that, whether it is that you're working directly with another with a seller's agent, for instance, one of the main reasons that we prefer working with professional real estate agencies in the city is because that they already are doing their part in vetting the contracts that they're planning to use. So it's not a random seller with funky ideas on how he thinks the deal will go, rather a contract that will usually be filtered out as well. So that's part of
Yeah.
the,
A,
the,
a
the
second a second set of eyes. Absolutely, Ruben. I agree with you completely. And I think also the value that we bring to the table, even when there's a lawyer, like you said, time is of the essence and everybody needs to get pushed. Okay, what are you waiting for? What's the issue? What have you proposed? By the way, I would say that Ruben is a better negotiator than almost any lawyer in Panama. Why? Because he understands exactly what his client needs, but on the other side, he's got a relationship with the seller's agent in this case, right? And can liaise and say, hey, man, the lawyers are butting heads on this one clause and they're being lawyers and they're being, like egos. Talk to your client. See if we can get, how about if we do this and you do that? We good? Yes, we're good. Perfect. Lawyers, in a lot of cases, would have never thought of that, right? But you got a 12-year vet here in Ruben that is going to definitely bring that to the table, especially with developers. Because developers, man, some of their lawyers are just like tunnel vision. They are told not to change anything in a contract because they've used it 15 times. But then you get a guy like Ruben take a look at a contract and be like, no, 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 no. The last 14 people didn't realize that, a 7% materials escalation clause is ridiculous, especially if it's going to be ready in 6 months. They should already know their costs. We want that gone. So yeah, great points, Ruben, and hopefully, now I jumped on your side a little bit to let folks know. What about post close? I mean, you don't have an agent, you get the keys, or at least you hope you get the keys. I like Ruben's going to come in and be like, "Well, we need the key fob. We need contact to the administration. We need to know what floor our deposit's on." Well, we already probably knew that, but what other support can you give post sale that could be valuable, especially for a foreign buyer?
I think that clarify expectations. Many buyers coming in, especially from the US and Canada, for instance, are used to having closing fees included in the sales price. And this is something that is not at all common practice in Panama. And
Sure.
subsequently, it's very unsettling to, find yourself having to come up with a few $1,000s at the end, and that you had assumed were the responsibility of the seller, for example. And then because there was no one in between assisting you with the process, there was no, it was impossible to explain to you the process from A to Z, so that by the time you got there, it would have been an easy transition to obtaining the keys. So like you said, definitely at that point, it's preferable, to have your agent assist you and clarify all of these questions and understand precisely, even to the dime, exactly how much money you're going to be spending all the way through to the end. Which is something that, like you said at the beginning, I mean, you mentioned something very true. In Panama, you have several thousand real estate agents legally working in the country, licensed people. From those, if you're looking on your own to find a property, you have a few thousand more that are just listing properties that have zero licensing. They're not registered with the government, and definitely, the ethical aspect of whatever work they want to do for you will be, less than zero, unfortunately. So
Right.
definitely in those instances, you're definitely gonna be getting a lot of surprises, really massive surprises. And when you have to try to find, someone to assist you, they'll just be gone because they will only be interested in only one thing.
They got their commission. Now they don't have to work for a year. Yeah, no, Ruben, I think you covered a lot of great points. Let's see what the internet says. But yeah, man, thank you. Thank you for hopping on. And thank you, anybody and everybody, for watching this video. Have a great rest of your day.
Take care.
Ciao.